Okay, welcome everybody. Week 2 of our countdown to convention. So we have 5 weeks to go to convention, and I was just thinking as I was getting ready that it is worth the extra investment in not only putting ourselves into personal momentum, personal activity, action in our businesses, but also getting people on our teams to do the same thing. Because I don't know about you guys, but I want to run into convention feeling like, regardless of what the points will look like, regardless of what the rank up or the point goal, whether that's hit at the end of May or not, I want to have worked, because that means I will feel, because of how I will feel at convention, because I have tapped in, I have done the things, and there's going to be plenty of people. First 2 weeks of June, all they do is work on getting to convention. What do I wear? Planning all the things. Like, that's all their brain space is focused around. But as leaders, our goal is to keep ourselves in personal action and keep our teams taking action as well. So anyways, just a little pep talk of like, hey, countdown to convention. I know May for a lot of us is a busy month, but that doesn't mean it has to be dead in the water and quiet on our end. We can take the initiative to go take action and make some things happen. Okay, so I want to kick off with going and doing an audit. So we're going to go back. We do this every week, I feel like, but we're going to go back to May 6th. Go back to May 6th in your Facebook post, and let's do a quick audit on our posting, okay? Just so we have a real quick hold the mirror moment. And I will mute for a minute, and we'll, if you, once you get it, chime it in the chat if you're able to. So I think all of you have done this, but basically figure out how many like personal posts, product posts, and then business posts that you've done, okay? And go. So back to May 6th. I'll do it too. My posting has not been stellar past couple of weeks. Okay. Actually, it might be helpful to, well, you'll probably be writing it down anyways because you're making tally marks probably, but keeping kind of a record and track of how you're trending with your posts, whether you're just working on upping your ante on how much you're present on your Facebook feed, not just in your story, but your Facebook feed, personal, business, and then product focused. Okay, you guys get yours. Okay, so then tally up how many total posts. All right, and throw it on a sticky note or something where we can kind of track, and we'll look at this week compared to next week, and we'll kind of keep track on this in the next 6 weeks, just as we're like working on our social media presence. And kind of like what we talked about last week, it's not just, I know a lot of us are really active in our stories, and so, but that doesn't necessarily count as your Facebook feed post, because that's kind of I don't know, I feel like our stories are more personal audience, people that are like wanting to follow us for the sake of following us. And so yes, keep doing what you're doing in your stories, making sure you have kind of a variety of things. Don't overthink it. But your feed post, I think, is where a lot of feedback is going to come from, and compounding consistency is going to show up. So let's see. Okay, Amber did 5 personal, 2 business, 2 product. Brooke did 4 personal, 1 product, no business. Business was wants and stories. Okay. April has 7 total, 1 business, no product, focusing more on authenticity and engagement. Yeah, well, and that's a good point, April, because regardless of how many posts you do, which posting is still important. I mean, I would say try to get at minimum 7 posts in per week, minimum, like absolute minimum. The goal, I'll just tell you really quick, the goal that I have for you guys and also for myself, which I'm reminding myself here of this, is 14, at least 14. Like in a weekly, weekly average, 14 total posts. And then you want 1 post a day, just personal or a call to comment, something that's like engaging in your personal life. And then a Plexus post. And then just have an eyeball on, making sure you're not like leaning towards one or the other more. I have always leaned more towards product posts because those are easy, like super easy for me to do. So half of those posts total need to be Plexus in some way. Okay. Lisa, or wait, Brandy has 5 personal, 3 business, 1 product, and consistent stories. Good. Is that up from previous, Brandy? Okay, good. We're chatting about this. Lisa, good one. Man, 17 total. 6 personal, 4 business, 2 product, 11 personal / engaging. Let's see. Becky has 5 product posts, 1 business, and lots of personal. Okay, so great job, fantastic. I had 13 total. 10 were personal and 3 were business. And I actually didn't have any product related ones this past week. And actually that's a low output for me, just in terms of social media posting in general. And so if you're not doing, let's make it a goal. Let's make it a goal for this next week to do 2 posts a day, 1 personal, 1 Plexus, and then making sure that your Plexus posts, that at least half of those are business posts. So like, let's say 4 business, 3 product. And if you want to splice some more in there, you totally can. If you have posted for a year or more, make it easy on yourself and go to your Facebook memories. And I'm like recycle. That's how I get posts. That's how I get a lot of posts up, because I will just go in my memories. Sometimes I'll throw a new picture with it, edit where it needs edited, especially on business posts, because I like in the past couple of years, I've been way more intentional to do business posts. And so I have like basically pre-written ones. So utilize your previous work you've done, because that's a really easy way to just get more content up. And then just that this goes hand in hand with this, but the more engagement you can do. So write that as a little asterisk. The more engagement on social media, the better. Don't post and ghost. And also, the goal is like the goal in posting is that we want people to come to us. Because wouldn't you all agree that when someone comes to you from a post they saw, whether for products or business, it's just easier? Like there's a level of belief built there with them because they've obviously been like following along for some length of time, and usually it's unbeknownst to us. And there was a season where I was like really intentional on my stories, going live like multiple times a week about the business. And in that time period that I had multiple people coming to me for the business. And so I just want to remind ourselves too, like as you're reaching out about the business, as you're helping people with product dosing and all of that good stuff, all of your posts like can feed into those conversations. So think of it as some of our posting is done for the sake of our current team. 1, to be an example of how to post, what to say about the business, what to say about the products. It's as much for our product users as it is for our potentials, because our product users sometimes are like, oh, I didn't know about Mega X, or, I didn't know this helped with kids' eczema. You know what I mean? Like, so I feel like it's belief building for people to just see us showing up consistently, because well, I mean, we've talked about this in here too, but when people don't see us post, they think we quit. And I remember Emily Roberts years ago, she was like, I think she was like speaking from stage somewhere. And she's like, so I didn't post about Plexus for 4 days. And she's like, I had so many people messaging me did you quit Plexus? She's like, no, I was just giving you guys a break because I thought you were sick of my Plexus posts, and then they think that I quit or whatever. So just a reminder that people are watching. The more you post, the more people you'll sign up, and I think it also feeds into retention too for your team. And you're being a good and wanting to be a good example of like how to post. To be that example to your team as well. We want them posting like what you do, your team will probably do about half or less. So just keep that in mind too in terms of output, because sometimes they just don't know what to post. But just a little plug reminder too, like for newer people that are learning how to post, plug them into the Rally Chat, because my thought is it's better to post Rally Chat content and get like a testimony up per day, like for these new people that are just learning how to post and stay consistent, than like not posting anything, or they get like paralyzed, like wondering what they should do or what they should post. The Rally Chat gets them some very, very basic things. So whoever you're thinking of right at this minute that needs to get plugged into Rally Chat, or you just need to tap back and be like, hey, have you been plugging into the Rally Chat? Sometimes it's just that little reminder with our newer dabblers. So it makes it easy for them. And we don't also, that's a system too, where we don't have to be creating and sourcing all that content. Jessica's assistant is doing all that every single morning, which makes it so easy. And for people that are plugged into that, it's going to remind them, oh yeah, Monday's call. Oh yeah, Thursday's call. Rinse, wash, repeat. Keep it super, super simple. Okay. Anyone have an awareness that they want to say about posting? Oh, good, Amber. Doing a business reel on your Instagram. Why do you think you're failing though? Oh, because you're not keeping up with it? Or no engagement?
I even have like a thing, like I just, for some reason, like I even have the ideas, but it's just the trying to figure out what the video looks like. That's where I'm hung up sometimes. I overthink it. Because when
Okay.
I did the product, it was fine. You know, it's just I just overthink it.
But
I
it's good.
take a ton of B-rolls and be done with it.
Yeah, it's good practice though, and sometimes I think we need to like hold our own feet to the fire. Like I'm like my own worst best enemy too when it comes to like, well, you homeschool moms know how this goes too. Like we have our plan, like our schedule, what we're planning to do, and like we pre-decide what we want to get done, and half the time it's like a half, maybe three quarters, maybe a fourth on any given day actually gets done. But it's like we've made the plan, so at least like it's the not having a plan. But I think the same thing for like our Plexus work too. Whatever it is, whether you're doing like the daily rounds, or you are committed to just one of those IPA sheets, or you like the KPI sheets. Some of you like really like those, but just or pre-deciding like how much you're going to post. The seasons where I have really upped my ante on social media, where I've been posting more, I'm like more engaging, just kind of setting aside those pockets throughout the day. It's like magic happens, and I just have more conversations going. So, okay, who has an awareness that they want to share from the audit? If not, we can go right into wins and then just sharing like new reach outs and follow ups. Just reporting time. Randy has meltdowns happening. I had to go put Abigail outside with her dad because I'm like, she needs everything right at this moment as I'm hopping on this call. So, a win, an awareness, doing better with your posting that you want to share about, new reach outs, follow ups.
My win is I actually signed somebody up.
Yeah, you've had it.
Three somebodies this month.
Yeah, how many so far?
3.
Okay, congratulations. That's a huge win. That's
It is, because it was like, what are we doing? Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to talk over you. What was that?
I said that's a culmination of a lot of conversations when we've come out of
long.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, and it's interesting because like Keith was talking about in his group, Lisa's in there. I don't know if anybody else is in that Leaders Academy, but he was talking about finding your wells, and his was that yoga, instructor. And so, not that I would thought in the back of my head, like my trainer would be like, he's in the perfect spot, right, to help people with this. And so 18 months of watching him try things off Amazon. And I finally just went, okay, we've known each other for 18 months now. Like, we've got to do something. He's like, I was going to try this. I was like, no, we're not. Like, we're going to try Plexus. I've watched you suffer for too long. He's like, okay, fine.
That's cute. So I honestly think we have to be that bold with people. Like when you know someone is struggling and then you're seeing them try a bunch of different things and spend a bunch of money. That's the other thing. Uh-huh. Do you feel like these 3 new people that you signed, Amber, are duplicatable or like that they're going to build a team at some level? Do you think that there's potential there for that?
2 of them. One of them just came to me. I was following a different girl on Instagram and we chat back and forth. And then, yeah, I just saw her comment in the comments, like to this other girl we mutually follow. And I just friended her. And then she friended me back and I was liking and I was commenting on some of her things and she went and found mine. And I had that gut health reel pinned to the top of my page. And she messaged me and I was like, okay. And then we just had a conversation and she's like, yep, let's do this. And I was like, okay. And she's like on Instagram, she's, she has a little bit of a presence and she's into financial wealth and like finding
Okay.
different streams of income. So I was like, listen. So I've already explained all that to her and just kind of like planting those seeds. So her product should get there in a couple days. So that's
Okay.
exciting.
Have you asked her if she's open to the opportunity part too?
Yep, I did. And I explained to her the extra $400 this month for, the 6 and explained how her referral link worked and all of those type things. So
Is she open to it? Like what did she say back?
she did not. She just said, okay, thank you for explaining all that to me.
Oh. Okay, so here's what you need to do. This is what I would do. Go back and check on her. Just say, hey, have you checked your whatever your tracking for your shipping? The product should be here like in the next day or two. But also wanted to just see what your thoughts were. If you're here just for products or if you're actually open to the business side or not, like or whatever opportunity side, or if you can think of a few friends, because like it doesn't have to be all or nothing. Like she doesn't have to be either a product taker or like a full-fledged business person, but it might be like Rita under Angie was someone she met in a group and she went faster at senior gold in a month, and she's a senior ruby now. So you just never know with these people that you don't know from Adam. They can blitz in and like really surprise you and double the size of your team really fast.
Yeah.
So just an awareness for all of us. But does it feel weird to go back and ask her that?
No, I don't think not for her. No, because she doesn't know that would not be my normal conversation. Do you know what I mean?
So,
It's just people that you know.
You would just let it simmer there versus re-asking her.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be fine because she wouldn't know that wouldn't be my normal. She would, like if it was like somebody that I knew, there may be like I feel like there would be more hesitation for me to go.
Right. To prejudge.
Yeah. But with her, I'd just be like, this is what we do. Like, are you interested in this side of it? So.
Well, I definitely think that this is for all of us too, myself included. We need to get clarity from people on what they want. Like when they're starting, unless I mean, even if they've come to us for a product, like for products mostly, so I signed 5 people in April. 2, out of the 5 that I asked, 2 of them, I just said, hey, just so that I'm clear, do you want to just start products, or are you also interested in sharing? Like, what are your thoughts there? And 2 out of the 5 said, yeah, heck yeah, I'll share. So I think we need to really, and if they don't reply after like, the first ask or whatever, we need to go back and like just re-ask them and just like, let me know what you're thinking. Because if they are thinking about sharing, we want to know right away. Because like my thought would be like, let's get on a call, you, me, and her, and kind of like if she's open to it. That's kind of
that would be.
What we need to
I'll
do.
go back to her and ask her.
It's kind of like urgency, because anyone that is open to sharing, we want them to take action right away and get them posting. Or them sharing with a couple friends and going silver right away. Yeah. Brandon, do you want to share? Is the crisis calmed down about your win?
Okay, so I put my message that I sent Megan in the comments, but how much do you want to hear? So I had a call with Jessica Thursday. I think it was Thursday. And we talked about a lot of things. And she asked me, I forget how she asked me, but like, when am I going Emerald? And I was like, well, I'm going Emerald this month. And she's like, I don't believe you. She's like, I don't believe you. And I was like, why not? Well, previously I had told her about this list that I have, and I'll show it to you. I have this long list of people, and I wrote down like things about these people, and it goes on for pages, right? And she basically told me, she said, if I thought you were going Emerald, you wouldn't be showing me that list. You'd be telling me that you already went through it. And she said, so what's your plan? And I was like, well, I was going to message like 15 people a week. And she just she said, and why are we waiting? And I don't know. I don't know. I had a lot of fears. I laid out a lot of fears. My call with her, I was telling Megan, I try so hard when she wants to do a call to like have organization of like, oh, this is, where I'm at. I had none of that. Like, I don't know where I'm at. And I had a lot of things that I had to kind of process while I was talking to her. So it was very messy. I feel like this is even messy. But I got off that call and I did not work my business all weekend, which I don't know if y'all have been listening to her podcast. She's been doing these silent, I think they're called silent retreats, where they like go away for the weekend, no phones, no media, no nothing. And I kind of like put myself in timeout for just the weekend to like give myself a minute to think my thoughts. And I wrote down, I talked to my team a little bit about this morning. I wrote down like all of the things, areas of my life where I feel like I'm failing, or that I know that I'm failing or falling short, not like a pity party page, but a literal, like just self-awareness. I'm writing this stuff down as a wife, as a mom, as a leader, as a Christian. Like, these are the areas where I'm falling short. And instead of like looking at it and be like, man, I just really stink at this. I don't remember if it was Tuesday night's call or the Ruby call where someone mentioned writing down your fears and then combating that with a verse. And I did some of that. Anyway, I sent out all of my messages. So this entire list, I did them all. I voice clipped every single one of them. I didn't do any typing. I did all voice clips. Most of them were the famous 28-second message that Megan sent me, where it was like, hey, we've not really connected on social media before. So I am reaching out to friends today, telling them about these all natural supplements that I use and love. And I just wanted to see if you would be open to a conversation about it. Send, right? No more, like no overthinking, just doing it. But then there was a couple of them on here who I would call the big dogs, who I know have been in like another network marketing company or something. And I sent them different messages. And I can send those. I should put one of them in the Ruby call or the Ruby chat of what I sent to some of them, because it was more like, I feel like terrified to send this to you, but you've been on my heart for a long time. And I want to know if you would be open to this. And I finished this list this morning. So I started working on them yesterday. I did 25 yesterday and 25 today. That does not sound like a lot, but 50 messages is a lot. It takes up so much brain space. And one of my biggest people that I was so scared of messaged me back, and I have a phone call with her tonight. So I'm really excited about that. She was with Octavia for a long time, and they kind of did her wrong. Like, I don't want to get into it, but they like held her Facebook account hostage. Like, there was a whole bunch of stuff that they did, because apparently with some network marketing companies, you sign contracts that like hold you in to some of this stuff. So anyway, I'm really anxious to talk to her tonight. But yeah, so I guess my win is that I did the hard things that I've been scared of for a very long time. And I kind of just don't care. Like, I used to get in my head like, oh, these people are going to see this message and be like, ew. But instead I was like, no, these people are going to see it and they're going to love it. And if they don't, that's okay.
Mm-hmm. You told us at the beginning of the month that we couldn't care about what people thought.
But then I started caring, and then I got on that call with Jessica, and then I cared even more. Like, it was almost like as I was talking to her, I'm like, my gosh, I don't know that I want emerald. Like, she's like, why do you want emerald? And I literally said the words out loud, I don't know. And you all know that I have told my reasons of why I want emerald. But in that moment, which I messaged her later, and I'm like, you totally caught me in like a huge moment of self-doubt and weakness. But I don't know why I want emerald. I don't know. In that moment, that's what my answer was. And that really shocked me. And like, it shocked myself when I said that. Like, I don't know. Because I have a whole list of reasons why I went emerald. I could sit here and talk to you for 20 minutes about why I went emerald. One of my biggest reasons is because I want my team to see that they can do it too. That's a huge reason for me. But in the moment of weakness, the words came out, I don't know. And that made me really upset that I said that out loud to our star diamond that is like taking her time with me to see why I want to be emerald. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, so I did the hard things. That was my win.
That's so good. And actually, it's a good thing that it was in that moment of like weakness and just feeling like, la, a little scattered, that you had the call with her, because it was like that sandpaper in a good way. Like the iron sharpening iron, to be like, well, why do you want it? And if it can't roll off our tongue, then maybe we haven't just like thought about it enough, or we need to kind of go back and remind ourselves. Because I do think that the clarity piece is so important. We need to be like able to like tell it to the dog, tell it to the kids, tell it to our husbands, tell it to whoever we're talking to, because we like resell ourselves on like why we're doing what we're doing. And so I think it's good that there was like that moment. And there's always the conversations after the call that sometimes that's where the clarity comes in, once you like verbally process and dump everything, and then you can kind of be like, okay, let's package it up with a nice little bow and make a plan. So what I heard from what Brandy shared is like, get through the list. If you don't take anything else away from this call, homework is get through the list. I think we all have those lists, and I have someone that is on the team that made a list, a dream team list, and she sat on that list. I need to ask her if she's actually messaged back through it. Well, the last time I chatted with her, she had sat on that list for over 2 years. So kudos for not sitting on that list for 2 years or more. Get through the list. Because really, have you guys heard of ClickFunnels? You guys familiar with those? I learned about them at a 10X conference that Jess and I went to like a couple years ago. But basically, like our conversations, our Facebook posts, it's basically like a click funnel where people are like, you want gut health, click here. And so it kind of leads you through a bunch of these different filters and funnels. And then you kind of end up on someone's story page and a link to order or whatever. So in my brain, like the conversations that we're having is basically a funnel, right? To get down to the yeses or to get down to the responses, really. And then the no's, the maybes, the yeses, right? And then some of them can become referrals. But I would say, challenge all of you, why do you want X rank? So like, why do you want Ruby? Why do you want Senior Ruby? Why do you want Emerald? And you need to write that down again. Like even if you've written it down, I can't tell you how many times. It's normal actually to feel a little scattered, because like we're all living life is loud and life is busy, right? But when we get into our business mode, get in our business brain, we need to have such clarity on like what we're creating and why, because that really honestly, it drives everything. Because if you're not clear on it, it's really easy to kind of sit back and be like, hey, whatever happens hey, oh well, I'll try for it next month. But it's really important to keep it front and center. I was talking with my mom the other day, and we were just talking about this, and this actually is applicable to Plexus, because I was thinking about it. So like from an entrepreneurial standpoint, she just like mentioned in passing that my brother had landed a few big jobs. And so I was like, landed a few big jobs. I like that. Why do I like that? How can that be translated into Plexus lingo? But like we're entrepreneurs, and there's a difference between being an entrepreneur and being self-employed. An entrepreneur in my brain is like a CEO. You're thinking about your business, you're creating, you're not just having to like take what someone else is telling you to do and just go do it. Like you're getting creative with it. It's like our own version of a dairy farm or whatever. Like it's a daily thing. It takes brain space. It takes action, right? And so my encouragement to you guys is to like land some big jobs. And then when Brandy messaged me earlier, she was like, I have this big yes, this girl that said a yes to my big question. And so I want to encourage you guys, like, what does an entrepreneur do? Like, they go out and find the jobs. They go network with people and find the yeses, right? And then they get the contract signed and then they get to work and they start working. But in our industry, it's really conversations. And it can't, and I was talking to Laura earlier, and we were just talking about like it can't be the same 20 names, right? And I think like life is busy, and sometimes we just sit down and like, okay, what do we do? What do we do? I need to reach out. So we just go back to like the list that we've had forever and a day, and there's nothing actually wrong with that because I mean it says what 12 to 17 exposures like people need in order before they're ready to say yes, but it can't just be that. Like I think that the a huge focus needs to be who are the new. So go back. Now, this is my favorite thing to do. Whenever you feel stuck, you don't even have to go back to your last follow-up list. You can actually go to your stories. So go horizontal and then go vertical and go look and see who's been liking and following your stories, who's been liking and commenting on your posts. Those are most likely the next 10 people are going to sign up with you, whether for products, business, or both. And that's a really easy place to start. And anyone that's like following your posts, even if it's all your family stuff, have you asked them about Plexus? Have you asked them to join your team? Are they someone that you would love to do this with because they're a really fun person? They're natural networkers. Maybe they already have a business of some sort. Those are the people that we want to be connecting with. And the big asks, and there's a lot of things that we can be doing in our business. The biggest needle movers outside of, posting and conversations are a given, right? But to really focus that effort, because Jessica Heffling said that for this first 6 months, pretty much like every day of for the first 6 months of Plexus, she was reaching out to people about the business Big Fish. How many of us can say that we are that intentional, that we're that intense with what we're doing? Not me. I took like the really long, lots of work route. It's like signing the world, and then from there filtering down like this huge pool of people for products. And then, some have decided to do the business part. So you can shortcut, which is still work, it's still work, right? But to have those big conversations. So don't be afraid. And actually momentum is the best time to reach out to business builders and to like capitalize on that momentum. That's the best time when people are joining your team for the business. That's the best time to go out and reach out to more people about the business because you have all that momentum coming in at the same time. Counterintuitive. I've mentioned this to Madison too. It's counterintuitive because we're like wanting to be like the mother hen and like take care of everybody, but versus like go out and find more people. And so also I liked what Amber said about finding your wells. And so as new people are joining your team, each of those people are new potential wells. And so we shouldn't shy away from asking them. And if their answer is no, this was a reminder to me, I can't remember who shared it, but Megan Malakovich and her husband Phil, when they get a no to like someone joining their team and they're welcoming them in and saying, hey, would you be willing to make a quick post? Here's what you can post. And then they say no, thank you. Then he actually goes back and says, well, if you don't want to do it for yourself, like, would you be willing to do it for us and just tag us? Because our business does run off of referrals. And that's not a weird thing to ask in a business world. I think so many of us are just like stay-at-home moms and we don't really like even sometimes have the awareness of like what's normative in a business context. It's not weird to ask for referrals in basically any industry. Like it's normal. Like networking is a part of, I would say, like most every business. And so we shouldn't be afraid to ask people on our teams to do that. And you could even kind of right out the gate say, hey, I know you may not want to make a post, but would you be willing to actually pop one up? Here's what you can say. And just do it for me because my business runs off of referrals. So use that little idea also. And then love the idea Amber had about pinning one of your favorite reels, one of your big, because that's a funnel. That is literally a funnel. Pin it to the top of your Facebook. Whether you want to do like swap it out, products 1 month, business 1 month, whatever, or swap it out every week and pin one to the top, especially if you are in the like networking mode where you're adding a lot of Facebook friends and people don't know you, but they're clicking on your stuff and like learning about who you are. Just a reminder there. That is a fantastic idea. Okay, who else? Who else? I have about 10 minutes and then I need to pop off because we have a sports banquet. Who else wants to share a win? Share how many new reach outs you did. If you landed out of all the reach outs you did, you landed a big yes conversation. Follow ups, any new awarenesses. Oh, April says, proud I got a post in a day. A big win is I have a new sharer who is hitting the ground running. Ooh, that's exciting, April. What's her name? Type it in if you're able to. Laura just chimed in her why Emerald. And verbalize that. Like, verbalize that everywhere you go. Like, in-person conversations as you're like little snippets can like even make their way into your posts or into your stories. Like, if you can go live and just talk about that, because people track with vision. Like, someone that's visionary and they know where they're going and why, like that is attractive. Like, that's magnetic to people. Okay.
April, can you just unmute real quick if you can? She has little fires everywhere.
Okay. That's
Hi.
exciting.
I'm driving. Okay, what do you want me to say?
Tell us
Well,
about
you had the party. You've got you have like Christina, you have Megan, you've got little fires everywhere that are going to explode by the end of the month if we keep doing, going forward.
Well, personally, my wins of like just staying consistent are I'm doing that Jessica Heffley challenge that I mentioned in the Ruby chat too, of just keeping myself accountable as far as 5 new reach outs a day. Which, like I told Brainy, I'm more of like a batch, like do a bunch at one time. Because then I feel like I'm getting some momentum, whereas this, I'm not always getting replies every day from just doing like 5 to 10. But Sarah, actually, she's a new coworker, and she has mentioned like hormones, and she's very like into health stuff. Eventually she wants to try to get pregnant. So like I said, she's been very trying to be intuitive about like her health journey and supplements. And like, so she was talking about supplements one day, and I was like, and taking a prenatal, and I'm like, you need a good supplement. And so I started talking to her about X Factor and then like the drink. And one day I gave her a sample and she's like, yeah, I wasn't a fan. And then I kept kind of like trickling it in. And then eventually she saw one of my testimony posts that I posted one day, I think. And she's like, okay, you're kind of like convincing me. So then she tried a different slim, and I'm like, you need to add more water. You need to do ice. Like, you need to do it better. And so she eventually did, and she loved it. And then it was kind of interesting too, because one day at work, she was showing, we were like having a conversation about something else, about how like she's a go-getter and like she's self-sufficient and like wants to do all these things. And then in a separate conversation, she was showing me this website called Notion. I'm very curious if any of you have ever heard of it, because it like was like a whole organization of her life on this website. And like, she was like, we were talking about being type A versus type C, B. And I was like looking at that and I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, the 2 conversations we just had today, like you would be like amazing. So I didn't say anything. And then later that night, I was just like, because she was kind of thinking about getting the products. And then eventually I was like, okay, so I've had this on my heart. Like, have you ever considered network marketing for making extra income? Because she's talking about getting a second job. And she said, no. Well, she replied and said, actually, I have. But I don't think she like ever knew like what company to look for, kind of. So then it just kind of like clicked. She's also a very like spiritual person and very close to God. So then she kept praying about it and stuff. And so anyways, we had her first party last night. We were really hoping she would go silver last night, but then her grandma had to read all the fine print and didn't get her order submitted yet. So we were hoping she goes senior silver by the end of the week. And then she already has her eyes on gold. So I'm super excited. And it's so crazy because Brandy, Lisa, and I, ever since like we started, it was like, okay, we need to pray for us. Like we need to pray for people like Brandy and myself and Lisa. Like that has been my prayer for so long, of like the self-sufficient, like just run with it. And like I see that so much in Sarah. So it's crazy how it's kind of coming full circle, but also trying to remind myself of like, okay, I can't only put my energy into her. I have to keep building and keep getting my own new VIPs too, because the girls that I do have, I just always struggle with the fact that I want it more than they do. So I had a good momentum at the end of the month, but I do worry about keeping that going for those other people. So I hope, sorry, I ramble, but I hope that helped.
No, that's so good. So, so good. Well, and sometimes it's all about helping the people that are dabbling. Like sometimes you have a runner blitz in, but then helping the people that are dabbling to do a little bit. Like if you notice something that Sarah is doing that those other girls could duplicate at some level, like, oh, here's a post that really worked. Or sometimes it's just getting them to take some sort of consistent action. So yeah. Have you gotten her on a call with Brandy yet?
We have her in a three-way chat. I don't want her to done a call, just a conversation. Brandy, they know of each other. So yeah, not specifically a call. I mean, I was gonna remind her about the team call tonight. So she's also like last week, she pretty much, I think it was like she was signing up around the time of the call last week, but she watched the replay of the team call last week. So
Okay.
she is watching like trainings and doing the things. And I was scared to mention it, but I mentioned convention last night and I told her to pray on it. So
Smart. Yeah. That's okay. Two things. We are doing a lot more face-to-faces. Little, even if they're in a three-way chat with you and the sponsor, like just do a real impromptu. I mean, obviously plan ahead, but just go live in those chats where you can just like three chat real quick and where Brandy can like cast some vision for her and ask her some specific questions, because it might be even some questions that you haven't thought to ask her, where Brandy could chime in and just be like, hey, well, what is a goal income that you would love to be bringing in from Plexus? Like, what would it take to match your current income? Or like just real specific questions that sometimes we feel a little bit more nervous to ask if like we're, somewhat closer related to the person, or, like it's a work acquaintance and have never asked like, super specific personal questions like that. But coming from someone like Brandy would not feel weird. And then Brandy could share her story. And, if this girl is willing to put the pedal to the metal, like sometimes it's just hearing someone else's story that's like, oh, well, I'd love to do that too. Brandy went gold in 12 days. Okay, why can't I do that? Especially with go-getter type people, you want to definitely connect them with other go-getter type people, because they can really kind of feed off that energy. And then the second thing is, it's not too late to get people to convention. Like we really, really, really need to drive to get more people to come to convention. And there's people that have not even joined our teams yet that will be at convention. I totally believe that. And we are really working to get people to get a bunch of people registered by the 15th. And then Eric Rory is doing a call with the field. I think that's the info on that has probably come out. So just a reminder there. And Lisa Winters actually has several new girls that have just recently joined and are coming to convention. So I feel like how awesome for these new people that are just starting. They're coming in for a business and they get to come to our company convention, and like think of how that will just like be a catalyst in a huge way from a connection and a community standpoint, just to be like with our whole team. Because sometimes when people join like in the summer months, like after convention, I'm like, I can't wait for you to meet all the people. Like you're totally love so and so and so and so. Like when they can connect with other people from the team. Yeah, totally. Convention can really change everything for people. Tonight, Ryan Evans is actually going to be doing our team call at 7:30. We bumped it up just a tiny bit because the East Coasters, I know, I wish it was actually swapped. Our East Coast friends are early to bed people, and so our team call time like really kills them. But I know the Midwesterners are like trying to get supper on the table and get kids rallied for bedtime and stuff at that time. So anyways, She's going to be sharing 10 top tips. Ryan is amazing. She is so fun. You'll love her. And so all your people will love her also. So I just got that thrown in the chats and on the Momentum Makers group. So feel free to tag your people and remind them. Oh yeah, if you haven't plugged into the Jessica Heffley challenge, I actually meant to have that posted on my Momentum Makers group this month and I totally forgot, but it's available on Team Plexus Provision. You can go check that out. Okay, well, it's almost mid-month. We're about a week away from everyone doubting their goals. So keep that in mind as you're chatting with people on your teams, to just remember that our job is to be professional encouragers and reminders of what's true and what the goals are, just to kind of hold that clarity mirror. Brandy, like what Jessica asked you, go ask your girls, why do you want X, Y, Z? And so I think those are good clarifying questions because it makes us think. And when we think, then it can help create that vision and clarity, and the path becomes really, really clear. So,
Hey, Megan, I know you have to run, but just between all of us right here, I did talk to her very briefly about the social media challenge.
oh, Lori,
Yes, and she's in there. I said, I feel like it has frozen a lot of people. So if you have people on your downline that have because I've heard this a lot from a lot of people, they're like, I don't know what to post. Like, should I do Jessica Heffley or should I do Lori Harrison? Like, they don't know what to do. And Jessica, she very kindly said, they're all diamonds right now. And to get to diamond, you're going to have to do what you need to do to show people that you're passionate about what you're doing and that you have these things to offer them. And if you're doing it quietly, it's not going to work. But I just wanted to share that real quick because I wanted to ask the queen versus the queen. We've got these two completely different perspectives. But she said the worst thing that you can do is stop. Like, you're stopping everything just because you are pulled. And she's like, you just have to do it your way. So anyway, I thought it was interesting that she's in the group and she said, if you take anything away from that group, make sure that you are interacting with people before you post. She said that is the most important thing that group could ever teach you is go comment on your people that you are talking to, like speaking to in your posts, and then make your post. So anyway, I just know that a lot of other people have struggled with that balance of Lori Harrison versus Jessica Heffley.
1000%. And I would say too, I don't feel like that group it's more for a mature Plexus business builder than like someone new that's just learning how to post. Now, if you have someone that like really has zero clue, even if they don't have any clue, I still would like lean towards adding them to the rally chat and just get them in the habit of posting. Do the Plexus post a day and a personal post, Plexus post, personal, and just practice that. Now, there's some people on our teams that maybe have been stuck for 7 years. They're in the same place. They haven't ranked advanced past silver. Maybe they need some ideas on like how to beef up the algorithm or whatever. But I think the thing to remember too is that there's more than one way to do it. But if you're quiet, I don't know how you unless you're in person networking hugely, massively, and or if you already come in with a network, what is that called? A brand built. I also think that's different. And I feel like that's almost what Lori's trying to do. I haven't tapped in completely, but I almost feel like she's trying to get people to do what Instagram people have done, where you're basically loud and proud about your life and your like couple of things that you really love to talk about. And then you're kind of secretly in a concealed way posting about Plexus on your wall, but throwing other things in your stories. So it's maybe more of an attraction marketing type approach to it. But I don't know that that's going to be a fast route for everybody. I would say for most people, it's a slow route. However, I do think some of the principles that she's sharing are beneficial for those of us mature enough to filter through and like take the meat, throw out the bones, see what fits, but we can't not post. Facebook wall posts are important. And if we're not loud and proud about what we're doing and excited, other people aren't going to be either. I did throw Krista Deary's a few of her screenshots of her recent posts. She's a pastor's wife. So I feel like if anyone has the potential for like overthinking and worrying about what the congregation, the networker is going to think about, it could be her. But like she is like the most empathetic, compassionate amazingly sweet person ever. And like, she's bold. She's like super bold in her posts. So if you haven't looked at what she's posted in a while, go get some ideas, or even just post what she's posted and quote her. There's nothing wrong with that either. So sometimes I
Can
feel
you
like
say her name again?
Krista with a K and then Deary. I did screenshot a few of her posts and threw them in the Ruby chat today. Yeah. But anytime that I get stuck or like, what do I need to share about? I go to like Marian Anderson. Krista Deary is another good one that I've like kind of forgotten about. I mean, I know her, I'm friends with her, but I don't always see her stuff. And so sometimes you just need like, oh, Amber Miller had amazing stories yesterday in her Instagram stories. Like, those are duplicatable. Anything these girls are talking about or sharing, like, put it in your own words with your own picture, your own story slides or whatever, or go live and talk from your perspective. I promise you, you will have people tuning in to what you're sharing. Okay, girls, I gotta run. Thanks for hopping on. Thanks for chiming in. Looking forward to a great week. I will see you next Tuesday. See ya.